have Cafe, Chalet, Bank, or Border, and it's which one do you pick your poison on. You're never going to take Virtus.pro to Cafe or Bank because you know they're very good on that map. So
tomorrow and the stars of the future here, but getting an idea of how that's going to
step. Haven't got a snapback on.
It helps him play faster.
I mean, if this is what has been holding them back, is that well, but then again, you look at now where the Blackbird's going, the Sense wall to cover off that trip wall over towards Office. Oh, the Frostmat was able to catch out one, but Evan finds two because of that pocket play using the Sense. Blind them both up over towards Long. Nice little pocket play from Wild.
Ready for the angle and the aggression, and you can see that they're sort of baiting and baying for some time. They're going to swing either side, but they just reveal themselves, and Pasha
allows him to go back up the staircase, and now it's a big 50-50. Where does Mats look? Does he hold on to the east, or does he look towards Catwalk? This is now what he has to come up against, and Hole loses it, picks the wrong way. Evan now isolated in the 1v2, trying to engage that single man towards the armory wall, but Joystick can just run away, and that's exactly what he's done. He's made that cross over in towards security. Now it's left Evan in quite the predicament. There's a BP as well, calling out his position the whole time to these VP players, so they know exactly where he is and see what Evan can do.
Well, there's the rotate back around. Joystick can just be a problem child, and they're either side of him, and Virtus.pro, I mean, played the end of this time perfectly. See you later.
It's about kind of picking one side of the map and going for it. And looks to me they're just going to try and rush in and go for the plant under the cover of the Yings, and they're doing that successfully.
Well, they got the shield on the backs. They can't be shot from above as well without problem, and they just keep pushing, but they get the post plant, can pull themselves back. The Blackbeard's there, and now with an air jab caught, they know somebody's coming around the side, but it doesn't actually get a kill on the back of it, and they know there's going to be pressure from that position. The tough thing is, how do you get them out of that situation? You can try and rebuild with the key boost. That's the first goal, and it's blocked off at least the perspective of the door, but Pasha just charges in. Evan gets one. Joystick has the cover. It's a 3 versus Evan right now, and he's got to be able to watch all of them. Does the right decision, dips in, gets the rid of Shepard, but as they start to smash through the Keeper, it's not the end of the world. They're actually going to do it again, and well, somebody is now on the defuse, but they're ready for the fight. They just have to move in, but they're just going to hold on, and he didn't really have any other option.
By defenders, and it's just that initial engagement of taking the fight to the defenders. As a board, it's a small map. You cannot afford to give up map control so easily, and it's just slowing down Wild in its tracks, and 2 kills come out for VP, and Wild just can't get in. They've not entered the building.
Yeah, a bit lost in the reads here. Wild. Oh, I was going to say, it's easy for us to say we saw the player there. We get outlined. And you know, they've given up some of the vertical, but they're still very locked in. They can counter anything. There's no way that they can get a hold above, let alone get themselves in for the plant. There's a single player in the corner of Office. Joystick wins out during the fight and somehow gets the second.
You know, they couldn't get in. VP not holding anything back. You know, good communication. You can see that they're playing.
Get killed, and it has to be uncontested. There's the break. Get rid of the fire, the long throw of the smoke, and now you've got to sort of operate. And there's Pasha getting one. The shotgun has moved right past the player. They're not aware of the one behind the half wall, and somehow Pasha still wins it out. But Garen the glass is the crossfire. However, they haven't been able to get the kid.
No bees left. There's no smokes left either for the glass. All they've got is some nades and a sense. That's it. So really, this is just not going to work. You're playing into the other reinforced side of VP, and he's going to use one of the senses to look towards that long. Garen able to find one, pushing up in towards Metal, but it still just looks like a very sorry affair for Wild, and that's the way it's going to end, as a 1v3 for Boomsy to try and clutch up in, but always is on that. Yeah.
Takes a chunk of damage from somewhere, but he's gone deep in and off the piece plant position. The C4 over the top. Now they know where he is, but they can't quite get the angle in time. They get the plant secured and they get out of there. There's 2 kills that have come through here for the side of Virtus.pro, but at this point now we're in a similar spate to where we were before. Can Wild have shown lessons learned? They have 2 players on the outside, watching for the windows. Deimos is off for the swing as well to try and just offer a little bit of width to cover the door itself. They have time to work with, but the time has ticked fairly steadily away, and well, with no keepers to try and build behind, they're hopping in for the angle. There's Matt's getting one. They're in and they're out. Sneak gets the second, and there they go. Now holding on to the defuse though. Will it be picked up? Will they get there in time? They're too far away, and there it is. Dan to give Give yourself a lifeline before you find yourself staring down the wrong end of a perfect, flawless half. Not that, as Evan is called out as well. They do get one, so it won't be a flawless end to it.
Oh, no, just again, the outlines do sometimes play tricks on us, but still. They know he's here. Should be a matter of time before VP have that dreaded double swing that they love oh so much. You know, one thing with VP, their crossfires are
towards getting the kit on the previous round, the one just before the one that we saw down underneath, but you know, they would know that they are in as they were last time, but now they have the player that's above the hatch on the...
you still got nades that you can obviously combo with the Deimos to try and kind of catch people by surprise, but speaking of catching by surprise, Sneak has caught two of them just by swinging out of Fountain, and it looks as though it won't be that dreaded 7-0 for WYLDE.
Width on this hole, they're pretty much entirely stretched over that side of the map, but they're making sure that their presence is still known. Pressure swings round, Boomsy gets Dan, and a flawless start.
We'll have, of course, roamers in towards that top floor, 4 of them to be precise, but for VP, as long as they can get into the building, they can really start working, and Joystick will open up for that first pick.
Well, that's it, first pick gone, and with always just reading the information, well, it's just feeding it to Joystick. Dan gets a kill onto Mats from a Claymore, and maybe 1 was the trick, but 2 was a step too far. Evan and Boomsy do get the first, but they've still got Monty that took a lot of damage there. Not entirely sure where from, but they're clear of it since. And there's suddenly Pasha. Okay, they now have the... But instead, Shepard is going to take the fight. They're going to go for the pre-fire, locks it in. Evan did not know that the position was being read, and that is a terrifying thing to look at. Immediately seeing the Monty. Where do you go at this point? Down and out. It's kind of the only option here. Boomsy has everything to do to save for the team, and the Monty's not going to drop the hatch, because why would you? Just pulls their way back. There's what from a...
Just focus on themselves. They don't really care who they play, and that shows in their performances. They'll ban the same things against every team. They don't change. They just put out their consistency, and they challenge teams to be better at it than them. Today, WYLDE were not.
Yeah, many teams will tell you, yeah, we're fine. If you've got to be the team that wins, you've got to beat everyone. Well, they put the actions behind it. They will have the same map veto against anyone. They will play the same way versus everyone. They will adapt, though, and that was kind of cool to learn, that they were still adapting their defenses tailor-made to WYLDE.
I have found one victory that WYLDE got today. Matt's got rid of the cable. He's now on a new headset, and that should be celebrated.
And Evan is almost in positive. Almost there.
Yeah.
It's improving slowly.
Yep, starts tomorrow, as you two have mentioned from the players here. Obviously, we'll have the scoreboard in a bit as well to show us really all the sets and everything. But before we do that, we talked to Pasha after this game. Pasha, a 7-1, a rather easy game for me, guys. I imagine 3 very welcome points as well.
First of all, hello everybody. Thank you. That was a quite nice game from us. Few good retakes, so it managed to like have 6 defenses in a row. That basically won us the game.
Pasha, who is the best player on your team? Because we can't decide, because you're all playing so well.
I mean, in theory, we managed to like figure out that if Joystick performs, we win everyone. So Joystick is the, if not the best, he's the most important. Because like yesterday we were screaming at each other, like literally screaming, 3 hours in a row. And Joystick dropped double digits today. So I think that makes sense.
Were you
we'll scream
screaming?
at him more. Yeah, yeah.
Screaming or screaming
like
at each
arguing.
other?
Screaming
no, like
at
arguing.
scrims.
Yeah.
Okay, very passionate scrims.
Pasha, I need to ask you, because I don't think we've spoken a lot about Karjeka joining the team as coach since the beginning of this year. How much has he had an impact on your guys' evolving playstyle, on CJX, on being more aggressive?
Well, I have to say that playstyle-wise is the most important guy in the roster as always, because he like literally like calls everything we need to learn, we need to do. Like he do a lot of like he gives a lot of info. I think Karjeka and analysts are doing like their best job and like having good analyze before the game, like especially today. We knew exactly that WYLDE will do, so there was a lot of like frost traps goes, so they can literally do nothing about it. Like everything was pretty much readable. So that's the like coach and analyst job basically.
That's awesome. We love to hear that. I mean, when we talked about, obviously we had our pre-show earlier today, Pasha, and we talked about the top 4 teams that are still in contention of the top 2 spots as well. You guys are coming from 4th prior to this play day, but we figured that you might have an easier path to the top 2 than the other teams, given that you only play secrets.